this is from a, really well respected. I read in a lot of detail how this graph was put together by a historian called Ian Morris. And looking at the rate of change for a long period of time as a species. So back to 14,000 BC. And I haven't got time to go into exactly how he put this graph together, but this is looking at the rate of change of social development, of which technology is a really, really big driver as a species. And basically, for a long time, that we weren't in this state now where the lives that my kids are leaving is radically different. So this idea that this stage that we're in now, where, the lives our kids leave is really, really fundamentally different to the life that I led as a kid and the life that my mum led as a kid when, the whole village would come round to her house because they were the only one in the village that had a TV to watch the coronation on. Our kids' lives are radically different to our lives, which in turn are radically different to our parents' lives. We haven't always been like that as a species. So in fact, the majority of our development as a species, the rate of development has actually been quite slow. I lived a very, very similar life to what not just my grandparents lived, but their great-great-grandparents before then. So this is from a book. I'm not sure exactly when it cut out, but I was saying it's by a historian called Ian Morris, who really put this graph together very carefully. And showing that, there has been development, but it's been a very, very slow-paced development. For most of our development, round about the Greeks and the Romans, it picks up. It goes down after the fall of the Roman Empire, the only time it's really materially gone down. And then this spike, which happened round about the advent of the telephone, round about the Industrial Revolution. And this is where we are now, at this point where our rate of change of development as a species is pretty much vertical. Yeah. So what we're going to be talking about today is, how is this affecting our kids? So our kids are at this moment where they're growing up at a time when, we're developing faster as a species than we've ever developed before. Things like screens that allow us to see, anything anywhere in the world at a touch of a button, which just wasn't there 100 years ago. We can talk to anybody. It's 24/7, as everyone's been saying. How is this affecting children?